How you going, guys? Welcome back to NZ Mopar. Not Reacts, because I'm not doing music. That's my other channel. Anyway, so this is the video 38 on the Studebaker. So yesterday, if you haven't watched yesterday's video, or the previous videos, and you just happened to stumble across this one, yesterday I've been making this door frame to replace it, because the old one was 96 years old and in the woods past it. You know, it's still solid, but it's not very solid anymore. It's about due to fall to pieces. I think it was still on the car and driving down the road. And this is the hinge point, so this is probably the worst piece. It's getting quite sad. It's not going to hold it together much longer, and it's already had the holes bodged up before, and so I thought it was time to remake it. Anyway, so I've been making this frame, making each piece. I started off with just some big blocks, obviously, and then I went through and I rough cut them all to close to the shape they need to be. Now, and then I went through, which I'm about to go through with this piece, because this is the last piece to do, to get to that point, which is close. I've got to do all the hinge points and everything on that, but not quite there yet. So now I'll go through and I'll mark this out to actually exact trim the ends. Then I'll mark out these pieces, like for the tongue, because it's still on here. So like this has got to have a tongue on it. This has got to have a, whatever you want to call that piece, to receive the other end. So then I'll cut that, and then I'll come through and I'll work out exactly where I need to trim all the excess wood off, and I'll get it really close, but I won't go right down to where I need to be, because I want to hand shape the last of it. And I'll see when I get the hinge points marked out and sorted out, and get the frame actually in the car, then I can actually work out exactly how much more I need to trim off to get the door fitting really, really nice. And then we will fit these pieces back on to hold out the skin on it. And the worst part making this one is it's going to have to look like that. So this piece here, let's over that like that, to accept the door panel on the outside. So I've got to get this pretty close and get that all fitting. And obviously these pieces go on the bottom, and the front edge and the top is just that piece there is just sat over top, and it's just nailed in, and so forth. So yeah, a little bit of work to do yet. So, what else was I going to say? Oh, you make that here. Will take a little bit of doing. It's curved both ways. I've got an English wheel here, but I've never used one. I only just arrived yesterday. I've got a folder here. It's a finger brake one, so you can take the pieces out. I used a big, massive industrial folder that was over 7 metres long. So a metre is about 3 and a bit feet, just if you're trying to convert it. Yeah, so I used to use one way back in the early 2000s. I used it from about 2001ish to about 2006 or 7. I think I run it about 5 years at night, making a lot of roofing products and flashings and other little bits and pieces. In a big factory, but it was 7 metres long, and it was a big CNC one. I actually used 3 different machines in that time, because they had the original one, which I sort of learnt a little bit on. It was very mechanical operated. You actually had to, it was still hydraulically driven because it was so bloody long, but you sort of had to do everything manually, within reason. It was sort of semi-automatic, if you know what I want to call. and then they got I think it was a Chinese-made CNC machine. It lasted about 2 years. It was just poorly made and poorly designed. It was, when it was new, it was really good, but it wore quick, and it just didn't last. Like because the blade was so long, the folding blade. It had like a lot of little mechanical arms in it to get everything to fold evenly, and it kept wearing. So they persevered with it for a couple of years, and it ended up just being just a real lemon. If it wasn't being used 24 hours a day, it probably would have been fine. You probably would have got 10, 15 years out of it. But if you weren't doing heaps and heaps of folding, but we were using it 24/7 pretty much, apart from they would work Saturday. So yeah, it was basically sort of 24 hours it didn't get used for in a week. So yeah, it was going all the time. It never stopped. So yeah, it didn't handle it. So I think they end up getting a really nice German-made machine that was, yeah, the original one was about 5.5 meters long, then the next one was 6.5, I think. And the final one, I think, was 7.2 or 7.5 or something like that. I can't remember exactly, but it was massive. Big, huge CNC folder. Had all the gauges come backwards and forwards in the back gauge, which is like where you shove the metal in. That would push it in and out to where you need it the next folder to. And obviously, that just helps just speed and production. And yeah, it was really, really good. So yeah, I know how to fold shit and all that. But yeah, it's been so long, like it's just going to take a little bit of getting my head around how much material you got to leave extra and all that sort of stuff to get your right angles, and how much you got to take away to do this and that. And yeah, there's a little bit of figuring around in it, but I'll make that. But I've just got to work out too, because this would have been machine rolled. I think it would have been put through a roll form. I'm pretty sure of it. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure this would have been roll formed. This panel, yeah, it was probably stamped, to be honest, but I don't know. But yeah, but I should be able to replicate that with the folder. Easy enough. I just got to work out whether I can do it before I English wheel it or after I English wheel it, if you know what I mean. Because it hasn't got a lot of curve that way, but there's enough in it to be annoying, and obviously it's got quite a bit of curve that way. So yeah, it's going to take a little bit. It's not a terribly difficult panel to replicate, but when you've never used the English wheel and it's been 13 or 14 years since you used the folder, it's going to take a little bit of working out. But yeah, so I'll start making this last piece of wood, and hopefully by the end of the day I will have this on the car and all the hinge reliefs made into the wood and test fit it, and then I can work out my final trimming, and then hopefully in the next couple of days after that I'll work out the door panel. So I'll get to it. Right, I just had a video removed from Instagram from a video I took probably 12 months ago when I walked through E. Hayes and Sons, which is a shop here in Invercargill, which has got Burtman Road and memorabilia and stuff in it. So basically I walked past the cabinet, with his Gods of Speed stuff, all his motorbike parts and everything. It's owned by the shop. It's there for everybody to frickin' see. I just took a video to show people what is wrong with this fucking world, man. We are fucked. It's like just dumb. Like it's in a movie. I was in the fucking movie. What is wrong with this world? They blocked somebody making a little video, walking through a shop and just showing some fucking memorabilia that the shop fucking owns. And that stuff was used in the movie, so I'm in the movie. What is wrong with this world? Well. Don't make things when you're frustrated. That end's meant to be like that. That end's meant to be like that. That end's okay. This again kind of looks alright until you go, damn it. Oh, I was too far ahead of myself and freaking not concentrating on what I was doing. Oh, screw it. Just Instagram shit freaking screwed me up, frustrated me, now I can't think clearly. Oh, poos and wheeze.
Yeah, trying to figure out this thing. I think I might just use the original piece. I might make some little slithers of wood, some little pieces, jam in these holes where the screws have already been before, just to freshen them up. I'm going to glue the door together anyway, so yeah, I think I might glue the frame all together and just refill these holes, and obviously it's going to be glued in that joint and that joint. Like I could, I don't know, like I could cut this out properly, just cut that off and then glue that on there when I glue it together, but I just don't know if it's going to be, by the time I get it down, it's the right thickness. It is fairly thick and through there, but even though it's glued on, it's taken a lot of strength with that being cut off. Because I just went and had a look at the other timber, that other big stick that's there. I grabbed the best stick first because the other one's quite dry and splintery, splintery, like it's got a lot of cracks through it. Like it's quite solid, but it's almost like dried out, if you know what I mean. Like it's really, almost like it's sort of splitting. Whereas I don't really want that. And this was like one of the best bits out of that stick. I've got another piece here, but it's not quite big enough. Like it's not thick enough. It's thick enough that way, but it's just enough material left in it. This way, it's about that much too short, which is a real pain in the ass. Basically, if I hold that, it's just that top piece. Like it's short by, well, if I hold that about there, it's like it's a bit missing about that much. Which you could like cut a piece off it and glue it on top, and you'd still have all your strength in that piece, which I could do, but I might try and use this again. See how we get on. Glue it all together. Glue it, screw it, and just glue some bits of wood in there, just to obviously just reinforce these holes. I'll try that anyway. See how we get on. We'll just see if it's going to hold okay. Like I could carry on with that, but I just don't think that not having that piece actually physically attached and then gluing it on afterwards is like it's going to be strong, but yeah, it's not as good as it could have been. It's a pain in the ass. I just wasn't concentrating because I was frustrated with that Instagram shit, and I was sort of, when I went to cut that, I cut that end first, obviously, and I think, oh yeah, no, sweet, and then I went to cut the other end, thinking that it was a tongue, not a, whatever you want to call that. Yeah, I just wasn't concentrating on what I was doing, and I was like, oh yeah, I just cut the tongue off, and it was like, put the first cut in, it was like, it dawned on me, I was like, shit, I did the wrong thing, because I actually test cut the other side, just to see what the, where it lined up with the pen mark, but I only went in there like a little bit, so that would be okay, like I'd get away with it, but yeah, no, I was like cut the other side just to, because I was just trying to check the parallels with using the bandsaw before I cut it by hand, because I was going to cut like that piece off by hand, but I was sitting with the head, and then I was like, when I pulled it away, I was thinking about it, I was like, shit, I need to cut that piece, not that side bits. But anyway, it's going to be one of those days, I think. Might go home and cry. Anyway, I'll piece this back together again, and I'll carry on with the other end and get the release made.
Right, so I'm just in the midst of trying to work out where the hinge relievers are. And I'm probably, this is probably too high up, it's too thick, just from what I can gather. Like I need to probably shave another, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch or a little bit more than that maybe. So obviously these fit in here somewhere, like that. So yeah, these pretty much sit right on the edge there. And then, because this is a spear one I found recently, so they sit in there like that. it's screwed in, so basically that sits fairly close to the edge. And then that's going to sit down there, so you can see that it's not even close to fitting, but that's about where it's going to go. Sit there, and I want just lining these spots up. May have to just carve a little more out of a few spots yet. Make this fit properly. I'll see you back after lunch. Hopefully I'll get these frickin' hinges on. If I didn't have all that kerfuffle earlier on, I probably would have had it, well, I might have had it done, but anyway, we'll see you after lunch. Righty, so I've taken a little piece out of here before lunch, and I've marked, I'll set this back in here and I've marked this edge again, which is more actually the back edge, but it gives me just my basic guide for thing. I've recessed one of these screw holes in because I need to recess the screws in here a bit, so I don't want to trim some of this away if I don't hit a screw. So I'll just do the other one, and then we'll start working out how much I'm going to trim away. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim away about this depth first before I cut back into here to fit the hinge in. And so instead of tapering it away, I'll just trim this away so it's fairly flat, sort of like, kind of like what this is already, and then I'll work out how much I need to take out to sort of fit the hinge in. I won't take too much for a start off down here. I'll just keep it fairly minimal, so then I can just do a rough test fit and then see whether I need to take more out or whatever to make it fit. So yeah, I'll just use these lines as a guide and sort of take it down to that level for a start off. I might have to flip this around and set it up so I can saw down this far, and then I can knock the rest out with a chisel. But yeah, I'll just recess this screw a bit more. I'll come back to you in a minute.
So the other issue is, well, the issue is here. I haven't quite got something right. Obviously, there's an angle on one of these joints that's not right. Which one it is, I don't know. So my plan is tomorrow, because I'm running out of day, is I'll swap this top one for a start, see if that changes anything. If that changes the way that the rest of it sits, I know it was top one. I can probably swap them all. I've got this piece of timber if I really need to make another piece. I'll probably cover that one and that one. I'm not sure about the bottom one. I don't know if it's quite big enough, but it might be close. But my other thought too is I'm going to glue and screw these together when I'm finally happy how it fits anyway. So if I have to, because I think it might be this joint here, but I'm not sure, it could be that one down there too. I can angle cut this a little bit just to try and get that to swing around, which is a possibility, what's wrong, but I'm not 100% sure on that. Or the one down here, I can do the same thing, I can angle cut this out a little bit so this can kick like that, if you know what I mean. So that's my two options, and then I can just still screw and glue it when it's in there. It's fitting nice, but we're getting there. Also, it won't, I can go like that, but it's pushing up against the back of the hinge still. Like the, where are we? Where's the camera? Whoa, yeah, there. That lump, so that's pushing on that lump when I go like that, because it can't come in any further because it still hasn't released enough out of there yet. But you can see that down here, this is in the ballpark. It's all along the ballpark sort of here, with final shaping and trimming, but here it's kicking way out, and here it's kicking way out. So this here, or that there, or even a combination of both. I just haven't quite got right. But a bit more, so I think I'm doing it right for doing this my first time. But hey, a little bit of finessing, we'll get it. Like I said, I think either that joint or that joint there, with a little bit of relief, we'll fix it. But I'll swap that over just to see whether it is this one, because that'll give me an idea if I can swap that over and nothing moves. Well, no, we're down here. Or it could be a combination of both. I'm guessing a combination of both, but we'll get it. So we'll catch you tomorrow.
Catch you tomorrow. Tomorrow's video will be in amongst us, so, well, should be. I'll make it that way. Won't eat anything, but yeah. Yeah, sort of had a bit of a messy day today. Tried to make that piece, screwed it up, and I've sort of carried on with this and other bits and pieces. Yeah, and just I sort of felt like I've got a little way, but not really, because yeah, needs to be screwed up. I cut the wrong piece. I was cutting a tongue, not a what do you want to call it, other way. I was trying to cut one of them, and then I realised, oh no, it's meant to be the other way. It's meant to be the bit that goes in, the tongue's meant to go in there. So yeah, it's a bit hard to do that when you've already cut a slice in it. So, it doesn't matter. We'll get there. We'll see you tomorrow. Couldn't help myself. I had to take it off. Took the top one off, and it's still like that, so it's down the bottom. So obviously when because I think I made that one first. Yeah, I did. Obviously got that there, right, that joint down there. I don't think it's in this wood, I think it's in this. I think it's meant to be, might have meant to be a little leaned more, and I've got it too straight up and down or something. But hey, we can fix that. A little bit of trimming here and there, we'll make it fit. Tomorrow. Promise, maybe. Morning guys. So, back here again. We'll have a look at this door and see if we can figure out what's going on. Just with it not sitting properly. But yeah, I don't think it'd be too much of a problem. I think I'd have to just take a little bit off the tongue on one side and probably a little bit out of the, I guess it would call it groove, it'd be tongue and groove, I don't know. Whatever those joints are called. I'm not a woodworker, I can copy things and make things happen, I suppose. If you give me a set of drawers, it was all those like those dovetails, whatever they are. I could probably replicate that too with enough time. It's like anything. If you sit there and just study it and figure out how it's made, by the time you've made it, probably, sort of three or four drawers, you'd have a fairly good handle on it, basic handle on it, a fairly good basic handle on it. But I've just obviously got to do a little bit of trimming on the actual tongue piece, and then obviously in the other piece where that tongue fits in, if I take a little bit out of there too, a little bit of both, instead of taking a big hunk out of one, should lean over and we should be able to put it back together. And we may have to take a little bit off one of the other ones as well to get it to come around nicely. But yeah, we'll pull it apart and trim all we need to trim, I guess. So I'll bring it over, or I'll mark it where I need to work on it, and yeah, bring it over here and we'll shave a bit off and see if it fits. Right, so this is going to come this way. Obviously now that I've unscrewed it, it's a bit loose, but so it really needs to come over sort of like that. It probably actually doesn't need, so I might just leave it loose like that and just sit it in the car and see if it moves without the screws in it, if you know what I mean. It might be quite a way. I might just go sit it in the car and just see if it, like that. That might be enough in there. Might just when it's screwed up tight, it's obviously pulling it in, it might. Yeah, we'll see. So it just mightn't have to take much off at all, might just have to alter a couple of little things. I'll be back in a minute. Turn you off. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit, this is the where the door hinges going. So I'm going to take a little bit out of here and just a touch off here, just probably the thickness of the saw blade, if that, on the bandsaw. And on the top piece, which goes on top of the door, that way. So this is the back edge of the door. I'm just going to take a little bit out of here too, just to take a wee bit of pressure off it when I pull it back around, just to aid things. And we'll see how we get on. So I'll do that and I'll come back to you. Alright, I think we're on a winner. I'll turn the camera around and just run you through what I'm going to try and do. And I think it should be pretty good. Righty, so the plan is, so it fits in there pretty good now. It's obviously a little bit loose in the joints, so that's not a big problem. But now that I hold that in there like that, with just a little bit of pressure on it, with those two joints being loose, it's pretty cool. So what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to relieve the rest of the hinge point. These line up good, from what I can tell. There's probably a bit much wood on the bottom, so I might have to just shave a little bit of extra timber off the bottom just to let it, yes, it's got to come down a little bit. The whole frame's got to drop down, probably bugger all really. Yeah, less than a 16th of an inch, just so it's about the right level, and it probably a little bit needs to come off the top too eventually. But I'll get these relieved, trim a little bit off the bottom of this frame, and then what I'll do is I think I'll glue all the joints. I'll take all the screws out, I'll glue all the joints, and I'll bring it over here, and I'll clamp it on these with just the clamps, and I'll clamp this here, top and bottom, so all the wood frame's sitting in its proper place, and let the glue dry. I'll just leave it there, and I'll start playing with the outer panel. So what I'll do is I'll just cut a little test piece off, it's like a chunk about this big, and just have a little play with the folder and the English wheel, because I haven't really used the English wheel either, so I just want to get a feel for it, and hopefully just a little piece will give me a bit of an idea.
Right, so the last thing I'm going to do before I've sort of gone through and I've trimmed, I think, all the little sort of major excess off without the final outside shape, you know what I mean? Like I've taken the excess off the bottom piece, and I've trimmed little bits in here and there on most pieces, just taken little slivers off here and there. I've taken extra off the inside of this one, I just trimmed like about that much off here, off the top surface of here. So now I'm just going to work out these pieces in here to relieve for the hinges. There's me spare hinge gone there. So yeah, I'm just going to, obviously, it sits pretty much on that edge. I can see where it used to be, so that gives me a pretty good idea. So just get really, all I've got to do is take out just a little bit. Like, I don't know why they took so much out in here, but it's not as though the hinge was sitting like way in here. Obviously they did it so, it was obviously probably just a generic code, like depending whether it needed to be in there or there, and then they screwed it in, I don't know, but that was probably their thinking, I suppose. They made, probably made some guy making it, 100 of them a day, I guess, through a, probably through a jig and a pattern, and he just took it down, and that's what they took out of it to make it fit, and then everyone was then obviously screwed in where it needed to be, on the vehicle probably, but yeah, like I think you probably only really need to take out, where's me? Like I only really need to take out, just say from that edge, if I chisel out sort of 15 mil to sort of half an inch, somewhere between there, like so 15 mil is there, half an inch is there, obviously minus the broken bit. So sort of 13 to 15 mil, or it's 12 and a half, I think 12 and a half, 12.45 or 54, whatever it is half an inch, what it works out to be. So somewhere around about that sort of mark. Take out on, make sure it's point around, okay, yep, so off this edge.
Yeah, so before I do the final glue and clamp, I'll just piece it together in there again, just clamp it up again, just make sure that the hinge is going to fit where I want them to fit, and I'll just do any little minor tweaks if needed, and then we'll glue and put it in there. There you go, guys. So it's been probably a good hour more since I've been talking to you. So I got the door in here clamped, glued and screwed, so it's just going to sit there for quite a while. I've sort of put a wee bit extra glue in some of these other pieces because it all set just about rock hard. I've just tried to fill up a little bit of the that sort of porous wood in there. I sort of squeezed it in there after I sort of glued it and screwed it. I sort of screwed it loosely, clamped it in here, and then I've tightened them up since. So hopefully when I let all these clamps go, it doesn't change shape or direction. The other thing we've done, I'll just turn the phone camera around. The thing we've done is the owner turned up with a whole heap of timber and some rubber casters that we can lock, and we made a like a T-frame and put underneath it. So that's nice and strong, and it's all used that same glue and nailed together, and those screws that are holding it on are, oh shit, they'd be 8 inches long, so they probably go down, at least three bits of whatever that is. I think that's 4x2, and that might be 6x2 or thereabouts. So at least go down through 3, if not 4 bits of timber, so they ain't going to come out of there. So yeah, and it's probably, if I open my stance up a little bit and just sort of, just bend your knees, I'm bloody near spot on for looking through there. It's really good. Like it's probably just, like it's a little bit below my nose height would be, I'm guessing about there. So by the time you just open your legs up and just, get a little bit bow-legged so you can do what you want to do, it's about the right height. It's not, it's not too high, but it's not too low either. It's just got a little bit bow-legged, and I'll sort of show you. I'll set the phone up and I'll show you for a second. Yeah, so if I sort of stand here, hopefully you can see me. I'm just sort of standing out with my legs sort of quite nice and wide apart. I'm basically looking straight through there, so just the legs bent. So that's quite a nice, comfortable, and you've got a good purchase on the ground for pushing something through there. So yeah, I can't wait to have a play with it shortly. So I'll probably do that after lunch. Because what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut that piece of sheet metal off there, probably about a foot wide or maybe a little bit more, and probably a couple of feet long, just to have a play with the folder and the English wheel, and just practice and work out mainly making that edge or that swage in it, and obviously just having a workout just to see how much material it takes, and whether I can do, put that through the roller a little bit and get a gentle curve in it, and then whether that'll still fold it nicely. So that's the after lunch thing. So yeah, that'll be cool. Right guys, we'll see you possibly after lunch, or I might trim a piece off whenever we play just before that, because I've got a few minutes but not a lot. So I cut a piece of sheet metal I never play with. Like, it's nowhere near as big as what the door is. It's not far away, but pretty close to be honest. But yeah, so at least I've got plenty there, but I want to get something close to the size. I'm not wasting too much. And you know, I can always use this for other pieces later on. You know, like I can cut off the swage or whatever. It doesn't matter so much. Like I can use it for other repair panels and other things. But yeah, at least now I can have I can try and replicate that swage piece and then have a play with English wheel after lunch. So yeah, I might have if I can get hold of Arco, I might have already talked to him and just ask him how he would do that, whether he'd do that swage first and then try rolling the English wheel, or the other way around. So yeah, because I don't really know. You could probably do it either way, but you're probably less likely to damage if you do the swage afterwards. But hey, it's 1.5 dozen the other, isn't it? But anyway, well, sure ejaculation there. So yeah, we'll see you after lunch. Righty guys, so what I want to do, because this is obviously not the right size, but I just want to work out the folding of this, and then obviously bend some edges over, and obviously do some rolling on it to see how this reacts, because I've never done English wheel stuff. Plenty of sheet metal folding, but not both together, if you know what I mean. I actually thought I had a decent scribe in the toolbox, but I don't. Just a pain in the butt, because I've got a nice long one at home. It must be at home somewhere. I need to go through. Like, there's that little one, but that's just a pain. It's too. Well, it's okay, but it's too short. So what I'm going to do, I was going to take some quick measurements off here and just do some rough measurements and have a play with the folder. And fold that up and possibly fold the edges over like this. But these little pieces here I'm going to have to put on obviously afterwards, because that's what they've done. They've actually brazed them on. I'll just MIG them on. Yeah. So I need to try and work out exactly which way to do it and what's going to work the best for when I obviously fold it over and everything's bent over and around on the panel and all that sort of stuff. But it doesn't need to be full size for a start off, but I'll try and do this full size so I can work out how to get it nice and close. Alright guys, so I got phone set up on the tripod on my gimbal. I kind of like using it, but I don't, because if I do long videos, it seems to walk around. I don't know why. It like wanders. I don't know if it's the tripod or if it's the gimbal or what it is. If it sits here for a long time, it moves. It's weird. I don't know if it's been doing that ever since I dropped it and broke it and then repeat it. I don't know, but anyway. Like it's alright when you're walking around because you're moving and it's not always in one spot, but it's when it's sitting on the tripod and it slowly goes like that, and if you speed it up it's like, it's weird. Anyway, I'm going to take this blade off, or this extension, because I only just want this little thickness. I don't want the whole big thing, because then I can't fold properly. So I'll take this off. And it's actually, I haven't ever used one with the fingers on it, which is cool. I've never tried one. Just the bolts in there. You should see how this works. See what I think of it. Notice there's a bit of a burr there. Just let it fall and just knock that off. Yeah. Well, that ain't working. Shit. I struggle to replicate that on this. Yeah. Way too big. Because it's not really right hard at the edge, that's quite a rolled end. It's not a real hard crisp. You see what I mean? Like it's quite rolled, which is not like it's a nice roll. Like it's consistent, but it's not a hard sharp like that. Which could be a problem. I actually wonder if I can flatten it out. Maybe just run that through the English wheel once I flatten it out, just with the flat roll and have another wee go and just see if I can get it tighter than that. Might do that. I'll come back to you if I can get it to work, because I don't want to cut 15 pieces of metal. Morning guys. So, I was having a play with this folder yesterday, which is right here, or the finger brake, or what do you want to call it. I'm not 100% happy with how it's bending. It's just not tight enough, not sharp enough bend with what I was playing with. I'll turn the camera around and I'll show you what I mean. So hopefully you can see it. Like it's quite a rolled bend, whereas this here is very, it's very sort of sharp and accurate, if you know, I suppose. Turn it and show you better. It's like it's a very sharp bend. So what I want to look at today, because this is Saturday, so I'm only going to spend a couple of 3 hours down here maybe, and see if I can have a play with this. I don't know whether I can just slip these. That's the biggest thing, is this has got an edge on it, so these sit up against there. But what I want to know is if I can slip these forward and get it to, see when it's pinched, it's, I don't know, whatever that measurement is, like that'd be a 1/16 of an inch or even more back. Where's the ruler? Actually, I don't know. Measure it. I'll measure it with some micro or some, roughly, what do we got? So, just at a rough guess, so what's that? That's some, so it's back about 2.5 mils or whatever that is, 0.095 of an inch, whatever that works out to be in fractions, I'm not sure. But I'm guessing about 1/16, thereabouts of an inch. So what I want is just to come forward further. Even if I can halve that distance, I'm going to get a sharper bend, because what it's doing is when it bends up, it's got all that distance to get the roll. Whereas if I can bring these forward somehow, even if it's only half that, it'll make a hell of a difference to the way it bends. I'll have a wee read of the book and I'll come back to you, just see if it says anything in that, whether you can adjust it. I haven't read the book, so I don't know. So what I did a bit of a read through the book. It said if you want to tighten the radius of the bend, you adjust these. Now I'm not sure if that's how it works. It's just the instructions in here are vaguish. Like it would be nice if it was a bit bigger book and it was a bit bigger picture, so you could actually, you can see the bits, but yeah, you know, like it's a bit Mickey Mouse to read. It's clear, but it's not very clear, especially with somebody if the eyesight's not 100%. So what I could understand is if you want a little bit more clamping pressure, it should pull that piece here forward a little bit. You tight, you know, wind these nuts up a little bit so it's got a little bit more clamping pressure in it. Obviously slides that blade forward a little bit. There you go, guys. So I'm getting close. I almost need sort of 2 people to do it, but I've got it fairly close. It probably just needs to be a little tighter. Tighter, I mean this space here. This space here needs to be probably just a little smaller. It's a little on the large side. It's not much though. Like it's pretty really. It's maybe a mil bigger. So yeah, I'd actually prefer it to be a little smaller than bigger, but I'm close. Also what I've done is I've made myself a block here with a profile on it. So if I do happen to get it a little small, I can actually hammer it and just gently go along and hammer and dolly, and then I can we'll use this as a dolly, but just gently hammer it out and maybe stretch it a little bit, and then I can, you know, metal file it and whatever with bodywork. So like as long as I can get it really close, you know, I can metal file it and take any little marks out, as long as I don't beat the crap out of it. But yeah, like if you're just gentle, I should be just use this as a profile tool and just gently hammer into it. You know, even if it's like a little bit short that way, if you know what I mean, I can just hammer it into it, and with just a little bit of pressure. Doesn't need to be, I don't need to be going crazy. Hammer it here, so I can just come along and hold it and just, you know, and back into that. Like I can hammer it. For the reason is because this is fairly hard. This is hardwood, so it'll take a bit of abuse, and I've only got to make 1 panel. So I'm not making 10, as long as I can get it really close. If it's, you know, a little smaller or something like that, it's not quite so critical because I can build it up with a little bit of paint or a little bit of body filler, as long as it's really close. If it's larger, that means I've got to try and make everything else a little bit bigger. As long as if it's really, really, really close, I could possibly panel file a little bit of steel off that, and between a little bit of body filler and a little bit of paint, and you know, you can get it really, really close. So I'm reasonably happy. I think I can probably get it. If I probably had 2 people here, it's the matter of holding it and trying to keep it in far enough and then pull those clamps back. That was the beauty of the hydraulically driven machine, I could actually stand it because it was pedal operated. So I could hold there, push the metal in to the jaw, and then gently just bring that blade down and just, almost so you could just slip it in and out, and then you could like get it really, really close, clamp it, and you could triple check your measurement, and if it was right, you could just, and then you could make it fold. But yeah, like it's not quite so easy like on a manual folder that you've actually got two handles to clamp it. Yeah, that would be nice. Like that's the advantage of having a like one that's hydraulically driven, a hydraulically driven clamp. You can get it really, really close. You can jiggle and push a lot of pressure on it, and the steel trying to force it in, and then you can gently bring it down and clamp it. I was interrupted there from the missus trying to work out what I was doing for lunch, or we're doing for lunch. So yeah, like I said, yeah, if with the hydraulic, yeah, you can put a lot of pressure on your steel to force it in to try and get those little bends. So you can have toe hands on the steel, really forcing it in, getting it really close. You can just squeeze that blade down and just gentle, and then you can, when you know you're bloody dead on, you can jump on it and it'll squeeze down with about freaking 20 ton of force, and then you can double, triple check your measurement, make sure you're really good, and then you can obviously bring your bar up as whatever you need to. But yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now I might, because it was sort of hard to film because I was backwards and forwards, and I actually cut that first piece off the top, and I made this, and I've actually beefed up the vise because this timber's not very good. Hopefully he might replace some of this top. But what I did is there's a piece of whatever this is, 16 to 2 or whatever it is. There's just a short that flat round, so I cut that off and clamped that up in the vise. So how do we play with the English wheel? When I do the big panel, I'll set the camera up. I was going to, but I just want to play without having to worry about the camera. But yeah, no, it's worked out quite good. I've rolled it both ways. Obviously with that edge bent, it's very hard to try and make it bend there like that. Yeah, I possibly could leave this lip big and try and roll along it, if you know what I mean, and then cut it off to try and get it to curve. Because I haven't got a shrinker. If you had a shrinker, you just gently grab that edge and just give it a wee tweak, and that would actually help pull it. The bottom and side edges aren't going to be so bad, because when you actually fold them right over and flatten them back, it'll relax a bit anyway. And obviously you're pulling it onto the door, so it's not quite so critical, because you can manipulate it and it should move a little bit. So yeah, we're getting there. I think it's pretty cool. I'm actually pretty proud of that. It's quite cool to make a little mini hot rod. Be quite cool to have a wee play and actually make it like a little mini body. Be quite cool. It started to get a door. Because it's probably, that's the difference. That's pretty cool. Quite proud of that. Like, I've got way too much curve in it, but like I knew that I had way too much curve in it. I was just playing to see what it took to make it move, and how much it moved and all those sorts of things. That's cool. Alright guys, I think that'll do for today. I'm pretty satisfied now, because that's basically almost the right length within reason. I think I can probably get it. If not, I can probably get a little bit of a hand to try and get that being really, really tight. I can probably get a bit of a hand, because I'll probably try to do it Monday. Once I'll need to have a bit more of a look back at this door frame, and obviously finish this off. Because when I start making that, I will need to test fit backwards and forwards and work all those sorts of things out. So I need to get this a little bit further on, And obviously I want to glue, I want to put some wood, make some little dowels and like glue them in these holes, just to make sure, especially on this older piece, to make sure that they are solid, so when you do put another screw back in, it's not going to come out. And obviously dress and tidy up and whatever else. We'll do finishing work on this as we go. But yeah, I'm sort of reasonably confident now that I can make that without too many problems. Yeah, so if I feel like I can't get it quite tight enough, I'll get some help, just to help clamp it, so I can hold it in and force it in there and whatever, you know, and then we can just triple check and double check, so I can get that gap. I'd rather have it a little tight and then use that block just to hammer along that edge and maybe stretch if I have to, and you know, bits and pieces like that, so if needed. But yeah, I think we'll be right. That's cool. Quite right with that. Yeah, I might actually cut and finish that and fold the edges over and all that sort of thing, just as a little side project for something to do. But yeah, all good. We'll catch you later on, guys. Cheers.